So with the trade deadline quickly approaching, next Thursday to be exact, and because of the constant talk around the Bulls community and the fan bases, what should the Bulls do? Leading up to the trade deadline, I thought that it would be fun to see any and all trade proposals that you guys want to see that are actually successful trade proposals, whether or not they're realistic. Even if they are successful, I'll get into. And so I posted on Twitter yesterday as well as on the Bulls Central Discord to send me your guys' trade proposals, including screenshots, and man, did I get some interesting responses. And I also received a ton of replies on both platforms, so I'll try and go through as many of these as I possibly can. Who knows, I may even have to do a second video on Thursday, since tomorrow is Hot Takes Wednesday. So appreciate all of you for leaving your trades, and if you want to leave your proposals, feel free to give me a follow on Twitter or join the Discord. Links to both of those can be found in the description. But with that said, let's get into some of these. So what's going on, everyone? You were listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. This first one that I wanted to talk about is a trade that features the Bulls acquiring Montrezl Harrell for Troy Brown Jr. and Tony Bradley. So I actually love this trade for the Bulls. I think that Herald would be an amazing fit for this team with his size, strength, and energy that he brings. Would be a perfect backup 5, or he could even occasionally start at the 4. I just don't really see the Wizards wanting to make this trade. Like, I think as Bulls fans, we also have to understand that it takes 2 teams to make a trade, and you have to consider whether it would even make sense for the other team. For the Wizards, I know they've been struggling. I believe they've fallen all the way to 11th in the standings after having kind of a strong start to the season, and they've indicated they're looking to make moves in readjusting their roster, and that Herald would be available in a trade. But for Troy Brown Jr. and Tony Bradley, I mean, Troy Brown, they just traded for him at the last trade deadline, with the Bulls, I might add, in which the Bulls sent them Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchinson. Hutchinson blows, he's not even in the league anymore, but they made out pretty well with that Gafford trade. I'm still bitter about that one, but yeah, I just don't know why they would bring Troy Brown Jr. back, especially since he hasn't really proven much this season. And although Tony Bradley had a great game the other night off the bench against the Blazers, can't say his value is super high either. So for the Wizards, this isn't going to be enough for someone like Herald. Maybe if you threw in a pick in there for sure, but I think they would probably want to get more for him than even just that. The next trade is an interesting one. In this scenario, the Bulls are trading Troy Brown Jr. and the Portland first-round pick for Jackson Hayes and a 2022 second-round pick. So if you've been following the channel for a while now, you know that I was pretty high on trading for Jackson Hayes last season before the Bulls ultimately traded for Vucevic, because I liked his athleticism, his tenacity in the paint, and also because he's young with lots of room left to grow. Now, I'm probably not as high on Hayes as I was before, just because I thought he was going to take a pretty big leap this season, and he's kind of stayed pretty flat, if not a slight decline. Of course, some of that is due to the fact that Jonas Valanciunas has been their starting center and getting the bulk of playing time, and for only playing 14.4 minutes per game, his numbers aren't that bad, but overall his efficiency has gone down. He's not rebounding the ball as well. His shot blocking and rim protection isn't what it was like last season, and his rookie season for that matter. And his scoring is still flat. So I don't know. I mean, I still like this trade for the Bulls, especially since that Portland pick is likely not going to convey this season since it's lottery protected. And Troy Brown Jr. has been pretty underwhelming. I could see the Pelicans actually taking this trade because it gives them a first-round pick in exchange for Hayes. And Troy Brown Jr., again, still young and gives them some wing depth. So again, I like the trade, but I'm just not sure either team would really go for this. The next one involves the Bulls trading Coby White, Troy Brown Jr., and Tony Bradley for Richaun Holmes. So I know a lot of people have been talking about Richaun Holmes as an option for the Bulls that they should seriously consider pursuing, because the Kings are a mess and basically looking to trade anyone not named Tyrese Halliburton. And yeah, Holmes, 28 now, fits the timeline for the Bulls as having one of his best seasons, averaging 12 and 18, solid efficiency, good shot blocking. He's a center power forward who could be a great piece off the bench or even start at the 4, and he gives you an actual 4 with size considering he's 6'10". But at the same time, I mean, Coby White, the ever-long debate, should the Bulls keep Coby or trade him while his value is high and when you already have an extensive backcourt? I've said it since the beginning of the season. Even when I've grown frustrated with Coby, I still don't think it makes sense to trade him in the middle of the season, especially now with the Bulls' injuries, because the Bulls are going to need his scoring. I think it makes more sense to see how the rest of the season goes on and then assess in the offseason how they want to proceed. The other issue with this trade is that Holmes still has 4 years left on his deal, so you're looking to lock in a player into a longer-term contract while you're giving up guys who are on shorter term, cheaper deals. At the same time though, what if Holmes gets even better now that he's in his prime and you have him locked into a team-friendly deal? I don't know. It's a good trade. It's just, I'm not sure I would part ways with Coby this early. Even still, this is kind of giving up a lot for Richaun Holmes as it is. Another one I received, which was a 3-team trade that involved the Bulls, Grizzlies, and Lakers, where the Bulls would get Dwight Howard and Kyle Anderson. The Grizzlies would receive Troy Brown Jr., Tony Bradley, and Portland's first-round pick, and the Lakers would get Matt Thomas. Not sure if this trade really makes sense for the Lakers, like they're getting Matt Thomas for Dwight Howard. Although, who knows, the Lakers have been a disaster. Maybe this would actually work for them to get some added shooting. I do like the addition of Kyle Anderson, as he's a great wing, and he's a bigger wing as well. Dwight Howard, I don't know. I don't know if I want to dip my toes in that one. Sure, maybe he's a better option than Tony Bradley as a backup 5, but not by a ton. Bradley is actually more aggressive than Dwight at this stage in his career and considerably younger. I will say, though, this is one of the more unique trades, really thinking outside of the box, and I'm intrigued by it. The way I'm kind of viewing this is you're giving up Tony Bradley, Troy Brown Jr., and Matt Thomas, and a first-round pick for Kyle Anderson. Is that worth it? I don't know. Seems kind of a bit much to me. The next one, like, yeah, okay, this one doesn't make sense at all. And what I mean by that is it really doesn't make sense for either team. Like, if the Pacers are looking to rebuild, they're not going to trade for a 31-year-old big man and giving up a 25-year-old who's in his prime. Like, yes, Vucevic is a star-level player, maybe not necessarily playing like it all the time this season, but he's still a top big man in the league. But if you're the Pacers, you're looking to get younger. So by trading for players with longer term potential or draft capital, that's what they're going to be looking for. They're not going to want Vucevic at age 31. And for the Bulls, I mean, yeah, I like Turner, and I think the Bulls could use his size and rim protection, but Turner and Holiday for Vucevic? Like, yeah, I get it. Vucevic's trade value isn't as high as it used to be, but he's certainly worth more than that. The next one, we've got another 3-team trade, and this one involves a lot of pieces. The 3-team trade between the Bulls, Wolves, and the Kings. The Bulls get Richaun Holmes and Jared Vanderbilt. I do like that. The Wolves would get Harrison Barnes, Troy Brown Jr., and Tony Bradley, and the Kings would get Taurean Prince, Derrick Jones Jr., Josh Okogie, the Bulls' first-round pick, and Portland's, or I guess I should say the Portland first-round pick from the Bulls, and then the 2027 first-round pick from the Wolves. Honestly, this isn't that bad, and I say that because this actually helps out all of these teams. For the Bulls, you get a center and power forward who fit the mold and style of play for what you're looking to play with. The Wolves get a veteran in Harrison Barnes to make up for the loss of Vanderbilt. They get a couple younger guys to give them more depth than Tony Bradley and Troy Brown Jr. And the Kings, another dumpster fire of a franchise, they actually make out decently well in this one because they get 2 first-round picks. They get Derrick Jones Jr., who I really don't want to trade, by the way, but if you're getting Holmes and Vanderbilt in return, I think you have to do it. They get a younger player in Josh Okogie and Taurean Prince on an expiring contract. Like, this actually works for all parties. As a Bulls fan, I would do this trade, to be honest. The other teams should want to as well. Like, this is a nicely crafted trade proposal, unlikely to happen, but I do like it. Another one I received, which this one I had to laugh because there's absolutely no way the Rockets would go for this, and that's trading Derrick Jones Jr., Tony Bradley, and Javonte Green for Christian Wood. I mean, hey, if the Bulls front office could somehow fleece the Rockets into thinking this is somehow a good deal for them, then great. I would take this package for Christian Wood all day, every day. And you guys know me, I love Javonte Green and Derrick Jones Jr., but this is a steal for a guy like Christian Wood. Yes, maybe a little immature at times, but he's a power forward who can give you 17 and 10, is a solid rim protector, has a good jump shot, he can even space the floor with his improved ability to shoot from outside, and you don't have to give up Coby White or Patrick Williams. Yeah, sign me up for that all day. But yeah, the Rockets are hanging up the phone on this trade. They'll be wanting to get way more in return for someone like Christian Wood. Another that came in was a trade that involved Marvin Bagley. So Bagley to the Bulls for Coby White and Tony Bradley. Yeah, I mean, if you had asked me about this trade at the beginning of the season when Coby was injured and we were, seeing how well Aya was doing and, of course, with how well Lonzo and Caruso were playing together, I would have been down for this trade because the Bulls were crowded in the backcourt and needed a big man. And why not take a chance on Bagley, a former number 2 overall pick who has just been in a bad situation in Sacramento. But now, with the way Coby has been playing and the fact that the Bulls need him with all the injuries, yeah, hard pass on this trade, especially considering Bagley continues to struggle and hasn't really shown a ton this season. Let's see, another one I received was the Thunder trading Derek Favors for Derek Jones Jr. Yeah, this one doesn't make sense to me because I think Favors is likely going to get bought out more than anything, and why not try and pick him up on the veteran minimum if you're going to go after him, rather than giving up Derek Jones Jr. for him and keeping Favors' salary, which is not favorable considering his value right now. I would say, you know, the Thunder are likely just going to have to, you know, buy him out. The most that they'll be able to get from him is a second-round pick, just based on his value right now, and obviously the direction that the Thunder are going. Everyone knows that they're looking to rebuild. Another one here that I'm kind of just like, meh. This is a straight trade for Tony Bradley for DeAndre Jordan. The only reason I'm kind of iffy on this one is, you know, does this really make the Bulls that much better? Like, yes, the experience of Jordan would be nice over someone like Tony Bradley, but DeAndre Jordan is really a shell of himself at this point. He gives you some rebounding, a little shot blocking, marginal scoring, still a really bad free throw shooter, so he's a liability late in game for that reason. It doesn't really add size or depth for the Bulls in the front court because you're giving up Tony Bradley in return. Yes, it's an expiring deal, so if it doesn't work out, you just don't re-sign him, but then why not just keep Bradley? I don't know, I just don't really see the value to the Bulls in adding someone like DeAndre Jordan in exchange for Tony Bradley. It's really kind of a break-even trade, in my opinion. Man, I really didn't get through as many of these as I would have liked relative to how many were submitted. I think I may just have to do another one of these for Thursday. So if you want to add to the trades list, feel free to send them my way either on Twitter or in the Discord. You can also leave them in the comments on this video as well. It's just easier if I have a screenshot saying that the trade is successful, which YouTube comments doesn't allow you to do, which is annoying, but it is what it is. Also, don't forget, guys, the Bulls are taking on the Magic tonight. I'll have a live game chat for that if you're interested in joining. Until then, as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, as I do post daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.